This video is sponsored by eWin Racing Gaming Chairs. Stick around at the end of the video to hear more and receive an exclusive offer through our channel. Now that Gabe and I cover co-op news regularly in our monthly series, we get to know about and keep up with way more co-op games than the average person. Like, no offense guy who just clicked on this video, but I probably know more about co-op games than you do. But even then, there are tons of indie games that are gonna slip through the cracks, and that's low-key depressing because indie developers work their butts off to beat the odds and make something they love for us gamers. So the fine people at Steam, recognizing this tragedy, do a really cool thing every so often called Steam Next Fest, where indie developers can submit demos for their upcoming games, and anyone and everyone can try them for free. But even then, the job is not done. It's up to us, the players, to spread the good news, to get those games on people's wish lists, and so we're here as the Co-op Bros to do just that. Here's a handful of games we played during Steam Next Fest you should add to your wishlist today.
Surmount is one of the most unique games on this list, which is saying something when we have a game about a hungry possum on here. More on that later. The gameplay sees you and a friend climbing and solving platforming challenges on your way to the top of Mount Ohm in 2-player local co-op. I really enjoyed what we played of this. Surmount has a very quirky feel to it, with the writing, fun character designs, and the ragdoll physics all contributing to that. In co-op, you're able to zip to your partner if you fall behind, and you can even use each other to gain more momentum. The platforming isn't super complicated, but it's clever in its design. You have to watch your stamina and make sure you put down a belay in order to rest. And as the demo went on, other mechanics like weather conditions were introduced too. I think this game could hit really hard once it's fully released and just has a bit more polish to it. It has a really fun world to be in and would be awesome to have this on the Nintendo Switch.
Wildmender is a game you might have heard of if you follow the channel, as we've covered it a few times on the monthly series. We were really excited knowing it's going to appear at Steam Next Fest and added it to the top of our list of must-plays. For those of you who don't know, this is a co-op survival title where you're tasked with bringing nature back to life, all through exploration, combat, and base building. From what we got to play, I'd say the game is going in the right direction with some solid movement elements that make exploring the world fun, and different survival elements that separate it from survival contemporaries. I will say the UI in this game could use some work, so if you're listening Muse Games, please fix that before launch. But of course, this is a demo and we've got time before launch. If you like survival games, look out for Wildmender launching sometime this year.
Go-Fi Fantastic is another game we've had our eye on since talking about it on the monthly, so we were very stoked to finally get our hands on it. This is a fast-paced 1 to 3 player hack and slash you can play in both online and local co-op modes. Right from the get-go, we were really impressed with the presentation here. The hand-drawn art style, the anime cutscene, the banging soundtrack, it all makes this into a really solid package. In co-op, you can choose between 4 different classes, which each one falling into the familiar DPS, tank, healer, and ranger roles. We played every class actually, and already started to see some sweet synergies between the characters. There's also a horde mode that we spend a good amount of time with, so much so that we nearly cracked the top 10 percentile on the leaderboards.
Alright, so we're 72,000. 11!
Let's go!
Let's go, dude! That's awesome!
That's so sick.
Dang, bro.
Yo, that's so sick. But I'm sure you're not surprised by that. Ya boys are elite gamers after all. Go-Fi Fantastic is slated to release later this year. It was genuinely one of my favorite demos, so go check it out while you still can.
Spacepunk Survival is a game I can describe in only one sentence. Call of Duty Nazi zombies with retro shooter gameplay and visuals set in space. Okay, so what game is next? No, but seriously, it's a very simple game and you definitely have to know that going in. And even though we don't have nostalgia for old shooters like the original Doom or Quake, there are people who do. So if those people want a horde survival game with aliens, here it is. Probably not going to be that expensive. Check it out, maybe add it to your wish list.
In terms of co-op, you can't go wrong with a classic Overcooked-like, and Moving Out 2 is shaping out to be yet another solid title in the ever-growing subgenre. Having not played the original, the demo does a great job at teaching you the basics and then throwing you into a handful of levels. And I gotta say, these levels were super creative. One level had you going through various revolving doors in a wizard tower, while the other had us chasing farm animals at a ranch. Yeah, that last one was really tough actually. I can already see a lot of creativity on display, and it got me excited to see what more they can come up with in the later game. Thankfully, I don't have to wait long since Moving Out 2 is coming out on August 15th. But if you're not sold on it yet, try the demo. It's both online and local co-op, and like I said, it made me more excited for the game, so maybe it'll have the same effect on you.
Mythforce, my friends, is going to be one to watch. The sell here is it's a Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic, set to a first-person melee-focused roguelike game, and they have indeed accomplished all of those things. The look and feel are exactly what you'd want and expect, and we couldn't get over how immersive the game felt. Sometimes you see an art style that's just so unique and different from the norm that you can't help but just constantly marvel at it, and we definitely were. But the gameplay is there too, with different classes that had good synergy, abilities specifically built for co-op, and excellent enemy variety that made us communicate in each wave. As a co-op title, I really think this thing has the juice. Everything I just mentioned makes for a good co-op game. It remains to be seen if this has the stuff as a roguelite, because you get a ton of abilities between waves that you can customize your build towards, but nothing that necessarily wowed us or made us feel like we were breaking the game. Plus, we're still not sure how the meta progression works outside of the roguelite gameplay, something that we're going to get a better idea when the game fully launches out of early access. Still, it's one of the most impressive demos we played, and it's coming out this fall to all consoles, including the Switch.
EchoPoint Nova is an amazing hodgepodge smoothie of a game that borrows so many mechanics from other games and somehow pulls it all off. There's a grappling hook, a hoverboard, bullet time, destructible walls, you can shoot fireballs, it's insane, but again, it all works so well. The gameplay is really simple, you're just going from one objective marker to the next while slowly being introduced to new mechanics. It's hard to say if this was a conceptual demo or if this is just simply the game. Either way, it was a ton of fun honestly. EchoPoint is at its best when you're moving at top speed, cruising on your hoverboard alongside your friend, shotgunning guys in the face, it's freaking awesome. Definitely give this one a try, the demo is pretty meaty, it's 4-player co-op both online and local, and it's one of the more memorable games we got the chance to check out.
Alright guys, we saved the best for last, the grand finale to the show, the game that indeed stole the show for us. That's right folks, Pizza freaking Possum is a bona fide banger. So you look at a game like Pizza Possum and you're like, okay, that looks wacky, but will the art style and the gameplay actually hold up and make something worth playing? Sometimes with these Goose Game-likes, you can't be certain if anything is more than just a gimmick. Pizza Possum absolutely has the stuff to compete with the best in this insane subgenre that I've made up, and I don't say that lightly. But let me go back, you're probably thinking, okay, so you think it's good, you think it's fun, but what are you actually doing here? So let me explain. Your goal is pretty simple, steal and eat as much food as possible without getting caught. The more you eat, the more the meter in the bottom left fills up, and when it fills up, you get a key that unlocks more of the level, and your goal is to get through the entire level. But you gotta watch out, there are these police dogs on the lookout that can catch you, and if both you and your friend get caught, your meter is back to 0. You still get your progress in the level, but you gotta start over with your meter. But of course you can find items throughout the level that can distract the dogs, like these bones, which is always pretty funny. You also can like get this juice that speeds you up, and if you do get caught, your friend can come over and just like push the dog over, and then you can run away, get to a bush, and like hide. It's all just survival gameplay. And it is a very simple premise, but it works. It's got really solid gameplay, like the platforming feels great. The soundtrack is amazing. It builds and fades depending on like the insanity that's going on. So the more chaotic things get, the soundtrack builds up. And when you like escape the dogs and you're hiding, the soundtrack goes back down. And there are some pretty cool smart co-op elements, like there's a dynamic split screen that adapts to your location and changes depending on where you're at. And that's really cool. You don't see that in a lot of games. It's like an older thing, but it's something that they should include in more split screen games. So overall, Pizza Possum is way better than I thought it was going to be. I really think you should triple circle Pizza Possum. Hit it up on your wish list and do whatever you can to not forget this one, because right now it has no release date, but it will release on every console when it does. So yeah, Pizza Possum.
Thanks for watching guys, we've always wanted to cover Steam Next Fest, and luckily there were plenty of co-op games for us to check out this year. Please go wishlist these games, follow them on Twitter, give them all the support if you're into them. That sort of thing really helps developers out more than you think. We're hoping to make this a yearly thing, so help us out, like, subscribe, and share the video so that we can get the word out on all these great indie titles. And before we go, let's hear about this video sponsor, E-Wing Racing.
If you're like me, you've probably often wondered, how can you take your gaming life to the next level? Sure, there's G Fuel, but you probably have IBS. And I guess there's RGB lighting, but maybe you have sensitive eyes. What can make you go from little G gamer to capital G gamer? Well, duh, a gaming chair, of course. But, gosh dang it, there are just so many choices, and some of those gaming chairs can get crazy expensive. If only there was an alternative. Welcome to E-Win Racing Gaming Chairs. With stain-resistant leather, high-density foam, and 4D adjustments out the wazoo, E-Win Racing Chair has changed my life. But no, seriously guys, I've never been a gaming chair guy until I got this chair, and now I couldn't go back if I tried. So if you're in the market for a gaming chair, I would suggest this bad boy, the Champion Series Ergonomic Computer Gaming Office Chair with pillows, which is a mouthful. We've got links down below. And if you use our code, the CoopBros20, you get an additional 20% off any sale price. We've got some links down below, like I said. We appreciate the support, whether you choose to buy one or not. All cool. We'll catch you next time on another episode of the Co-op Bros.